do that. Okay, so we are officially recording. I want to say hello. I'm Adrienne Schonkweiler, and I am a trainer with LuLaRoe. I'm in Westerville, Ohio, here in my Lula room. And tonight I'm also joined by Michelle. So, Michelle, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, I am your sister from Maine, and I am a trainer in the queue. Woohoo! That's
Woohoo!
exciting to say. Yeah, so I'll let
Awesome.
Adrian start and I'll take over.
Well, tonight we're going to talk about fundraising. It's a topic that was requested when we kind of surveyed everybody on our team, and it's something that really makes LuLaRoe unique in the way that we do fundraisers. So, wanted to talk about that tonight. I'm going to talk about the kind of nuts and bolts part of it, and then I'm going to hand things off to Michelle for a little bit because Michelle, I call the queen of fundraisers. She has just done some super successful fundraisers in her little town of Maine. So I want her to talk about the types of fundraisers she's done, what makes them successful, and then I'm going to tell you a little bit about a fundraiser I had that was not so successful so we can kind of compare those. So first of all, the goal for LuLaRoe in doing fundraising is really to be able to bless lives. That's part of our mission statement. And so they really want us to give back to our communities by doing fundraisers. Um, you know, it's really kind of unique, but it's a really special thing that LuLaRoe will match the dollars that you're able to collect. So it's a really great opportunity. If you so first I want to say this: if you have never done a fundraiser, I want to challenge you to do one because number one, it's a great way to book pop-ups. And number two, it's a really awesome thing to kind of spread the LuLaRoe love, to be able to bless lives, but then also to be able to show new people LuLaRoe in the form of a fundraiser. It's just a great way to introduce new people to LuLaRoe. So it's a win-win. There's nothing bad about them. And like I say, they're good for booking pop-ups. So, if you're looking at your calendar and you're like, I could use a few more pop-ups, post something on your page or message a few people and just say, does anybody have something out there that they're needing help raising funds? And, it's something that you can organize pretty quickly and, you'll be able to donate money. So if you have not been on the LuLaRoe box, has an entire folder that's called fundraising assets, and it literally has everything you need, step-by-step process. So it starts with, when you decide you're going to do a fundraiser, you need to email LuLaRoe. So I'm actually like going to look at my cheat sheet behind me because I want to make sure that I have everything behind me. But so in this assets page, there's everything from like tally sheets to prices that they match, but it also just starts with their fundraising policy. That they want to donate to charitable organizations. That the first thing you have to do is email fundraisers@lularoe.com, and you need to describe your fundraiser. You need to give the name of the business or foundation and the date. And then you would just want to give as much detail as you can. And I have found this, and so has Michelle, like this is the fastest email you will ever get back from LuLaRoe. Like this department is on it. They email back within a day or two, which is pretty unbelievable. So the next thing that you do, it does say they will officially reply back within 2 days to inform you that you've been approved. So once you're approved, that's when you want to go ahead and go through the normal steps of how you would, create invitations, do a Facebook event, all those type of things, and let people know that this is a LuLaRoe fundraiser pop-up, and invite people the way you typically would. Obviously, this is something where maybe people who haven't heard of it or, people who want to help a situation but they don't know how, maybe they'll be encouraged to come and shop because of where or who you're donating it to. The really cool part is you sell your product just like normal. Obviously, there's no hostess rewards at a fundraiser. So what we do is there is a tally sheet, and they basically have a certain level within your wholesale. So as you're doing your checkout, you want to keep a tally of what you're selling. And then basically what they do is LuLaRoe will match. So for wholesale items that are under $10, which is things like kids' leggings and some of those things, they'll donate $1.50. For items that are $10 to $19, like a lot of our tops, our Cassie skirts, that kind of thing, they'll donate $2. And for anything that's $20 and up wholesale, they will donate $3. So that's your Amelia's, your Carly's, your Maxie's, all that, our higher profit items, they'll donate $3. Something to be aware of is that LuLaRoe did make a change, that your fundraiser does have to get to a certain level in order for them to match. That level would be $100 of that kind of matching policy donation. So of all those wholesale things, they need to add up to $100 mark, so that then LuLaRoe would match that. And so your minimum's kind of there at $200. So you want to make sure that you do a good job in promoting this. You get a lot of people there, because the last thing you want to do is have like 4 people show up, you don't raise enough money, and then LuLaRoe doesn't match. And I had that happen. We'll talk about that in a little bit. So it's really important to make sure, you get a lot of people there. But that whole matching policy, again, is in assets. So you can literally have the cheat sheet right there printed out. I know I've done that, because trying to think in my head of like, okay, what does this go for wholesale? No, just keep the tally sheet. And then at the end, you can add it all up. And then what you do is you take a picture of that sheet, and basically you write a check, to the organization, and you take a picture of that and you send it to LuLaRoe. And I'm going to read this. So I'm reading the thing. So once the fundraiser's finished, you send a copy of your tally sheet, along with the name and address of where they're going to remit the payment to, because they're not going to make the check out to you. They're going to make it out to the organization. So that's really important that you include that. And then LuLaRoe sends them their money, and it's that simple. They have included in the assets some specific fundraising graphics. So when you create your invitation, when you create your Facebook event, it will specifically say fundraiser on it. So I think that's important. And really from there, that's really the only difference. So I'm actually going to hand it over to Michelle for just a minute so she can talk about a couple fundraisers that she did. And then I'm going to chime in with some kind of an opposite story. So we'll go for Michelle.
Okay, so I'm first of all really humbled that Adrienne thought enough of me to ask me to join her tonight. My first fundraiser was actually about a month after I onboarded. I thought the great thing about LuLaRoe was that they really encouraged us to do this, and that it made me feel good that they wanted us to give back. So I had a school district that I used to work for, very low income, and they wanted to put on a bouncy house for their last day of school. And I was tutoring there at the time, and the principal was just really discouraged. She's like, I just don't know how we're going to come up with this money. And so I thought, oh, I'll help you come up with the money. Email LuLaRoe. Within, I think it was like 3 hours, they had approved me, and my fundraiser was like 2 weeks away. What I want you to keep in mind is that I was introducing LuLaRoe to a brand new spectrum of people. I am in Maine. I am 3 hours roughly from the nearest Target or any large department store worth mentioning. You can't buy, I joke, you can't buy underwear in our town. There's no clothing stores. So people
You are
were
the
like,
clothing store.
yeah, people were just like, you saw clothes? Okay. So everyone that walked into that gym, it was at a school, was anticipating seeing a catalog of clothing. I hadn't done a whole lot of advertising because, to be honest, I was new in the business. I had just had my launch parties, and I was kind of throwing things together, assuming that, people will come. Their secretary did a really good job of advertising things. So people walked into the gym and they were just kind of like, okay, so where are the catalogs? And they walked in and it was like, their eyes were just like, you have clothes. And they were just amazed by it. So for myself, a fundraiser of that sort was also a really good opening to my business, because people were just like, this girl's got clothes and she's 20 minutes from us. And so that fundraiser was great. I ended up making $165, which LuLaRoe matched. So it was like a 300, we rounded up, and it was like a $330 donation. And the bouncy house cost $250. So they got that, and then they were able to do snacks. And so for me, right then and there, I was like, okay, this is something that I want to pursue. I want to do more in my time with LuLaRoe. So then came growth in my business. People were starting to learn a little bit more about LuLaRoe. And the school that I now work at wanted a playground. When I was in 4th grade, which was It's not long ago at all. The school put in a new playground. And so it was 23 years old. Yikes. So the playground was 23 years old, falling apart, and our whole town uses the playground. So you can imagine that the community effort in it was huge. The playground was roughly $100,000, and the school had raised, the PTO had, without support of the school, had raised, I want to say they were $10,000 off. So the school agreed to do the last $10,000, but the PTO had a certain amount of time in which they had to make up the money. So the community was just pulling together in all aspects of it. So I thought, you know what a sweet market. This is perfect. I was working at the school, and I decided, you know what, this is going to be my next fundraiser. And I set goals for myself. It's something that I have to do. And I told myself I wanted to raise $500 total. I wanted to raise $250 on my own. I wanted LuLaRoe to match $250. And Justin and I, my husband, had talked about it, and we said, you know what, regardless, we want to do a personal donation. So whatever happens, we're going to up it and make it happen that it's $500. So in my mind, I was like pushing to do it. Here's my key to success of that fundraiser. I advertised the living daylights out of it. I put posters up in town. I had it was hilarious. The principal is probably like a 60-year-old man, and he was announcing LuLaRoe on the intercom, so the kids were hearing it, and they were, there's leggings and there's shirts. And so it was advertised every single day for 2 weeks. I sent home flyers upon flyers. I sent home a flyer 2 weeks before the event. I sent home a flyer a week before the event, and I sent home a flyer the night before the event. And I thought, maybe I'm getting annoying, but I know what it's like as a parent to get all of this stuff home from kids, and that sometimes you see some of it and sometimes you don't. So I thought, you know what, the more I can send, the better. But beyond that, I did a Facebook page for it, an event page for it, where I advertised it a lot, and the PTO did a really great job of supporting me in that. They made calls to parents. They did their part. So I guess what I learned from that is that a school is an amazing place to hold a fundraiser. There are schools all around all of you, I'm sure, who have things that they are looking to do for their children at their school. And I can tell you that parents step up, but teachers really step up. So I'm a teacher, and my husband took the afternoon off of the fundraiser because we had originally set the time to be 6 to 8 at night. And I know what it's like to be a teacher, that once you leave the school building, you're not coming back at 6 to 8 that night. So I decided to change the time. He took the afternoon off, and he was actually in the gym setting up as soon as lunch was over. So at 3 o'clock, when I got dismissed from school, I basically walked down, and it was all set up, and I had teachers lurking, like just chomping at the bit to shop. So they shopped, and I ended up raising, I sold 200 items in 2 hours time. My armpits were like sweating, and I was just like freaking out that, and I wasn't, at the time I was tallying, but I wasn't really thinking of, where are these numbers going? And I ended up raising, I think the total came out to be, actually I wrote it down. Anyway, we ended up making $1,000 donation between myself and so we raised $467. I upped my donation, and we ended up making a $1,000 donation to the playground.
Awesome.
So it was amazing. I was so excited to be part of it, and to say that, they took $1,000 off of their payment. It was done, and that for me felt really good because my daughter goes to school there. I grew up going to school there. But what I will tell you is that a school is amazing. And if you have, if they have a good secretarial staff that will work with you, a good PTO, those are all great people to reach out to. And they're not often going to reach out to you. A lot of people with fundraisers are not going to come to you and say, I'd like a fundraiser for this. I think we have to kind of be open to saying, here's somewhere where I see a need, and reach out to, and I reached out to another lady today. Something came across my Facebook feed where, they're doing this event, and I thought, let's turn it into a fundraiser. I reached out to her and she was like, you would do that? And I'm like, of course I would do that. And so it's about more than, you know, what you think it is. It's thinking outside the box of what, you know, what could be. I've done one online fundraiser for, actually, it was the Now I Lay Me Down to Sleep Foundation, who takes pictures of newborn infants who are not going to make it home. It was something personal to me, having lost a child. And it was something that we always wanted to donate to after the fact. And I thought, you know, there's so many women who experience something so close to this. That was another greatly successful fundraiser. What I've learned in all of this is if you can find a personal connection to it, it sells itself. And people want to help, you know, and they want something that they're going to feel good about giving to. I mean, these kids had the poster, you know, they had the poster of their playground. Those kids saw it. They wanted it. The parents wanted it for them. The teachers wanted it for them. It was something tangible that they could get there, you know, and so many people had the personal connection to child loss or to infant loss. It was something that they felt, so they wanted to donate and they wanted to do something to be a part of. So I guess putting your heart out there into what makes you feel good to do is the number one thing. And from there, there's people all around you that are deserving, you know, of something like this. And it won't, and I'm not here to say that it's going to be $1,000. I don't expect to ever have $1,000 fundraiser again.
Let's say results not typical.
You know, it was incredible. But if you can make someone $100, you know, to ease their burden in whatever they're going through or whatever they're trying to achieve, you know, it'll bless you, because, you know, like Adrienne said, you'll book pop-ups from it. You'll introduce people. And that was the thing, you know, some of these parents walked in with their kids and they're like, wow, this is awesome. And now they're some of my best customers. So, you know, you grow your business through things like that.
Right. So one of the things you said that I wrote down was just the fact that you can do this in the beginning. So I don't want, like, if somebody were to watch this and they're in the queue, just know that you can start out with a fundraiser, obviously not necessarily like your first party, but, you know, like, there's nothing that says, well, you need to be in business 6 months before you do a LuLaRoe fundraiser. If anything, like you said, it was a great way to introduce to the community because it was through a community event. So I think that's important to know, that it doesn't matter. You can be at any point in your LuLaRoe, you know, journey and be doing fundraisers. And again, a great way to book pop-ups. So so I wanted to share real quick because Michelle hit the nail on the head. We were kind of talking through, you know, the fundraisers she's done and what I've done and what made them different, or what made one successful versus another. So I've done, and thinking about it, I've only done 2 fundraisers, which I realize now I'm like, I should be doing more. Why am I not doing more? And so I'm glad we're doing this call, because it is making me realize that I should be seeking those out. I should be seeing opportunities where I hear about something and say, hey, can I help with that? So sometimes it's just, you know, self-awareness. But I've done 2 fundraisers, and one of which was not successful. So just to give you some perspective, I had a friend who was doing a local kind of charity event called Pelotonia. It's something here in Columbus that's really big. It's a bike riding event for cancer, which obviously, I mean, people are affected by cancer. It's not that people don't care about cancer. But honestly, the event, you know, we promoted it, we did all the normal things, but she didn't have a large turnout. And as a result, not many items sold. And that's where I made the mistake, how I had told her that LuLaRoe matches. And so when I didn't get to that $100 mark, I ended up matching it myself, just because she is a friend and a good customer and I wanted to do the right thing. But lesson learned that, you know, that wasn't the best thing. But I think when I look back at that fundraiser, I realized a couple things. Number one is, there's nothing wrong with doing fundraisers for your friends, but I think a lot of the people she was inviting are people who already shop for me on a regular basis. They're at my house all the time. So for them to come to her fundraiser was like, I already shop from Adrienne. Like, you know, it wasn't like, oh, this new, different, special thing. So she wasn't necessarily introducing it to a bunch of new people. And then number 2 is that while Pelotonia is a great organization, again, it didn't necessarily have that personal feeling for people where they were like, yeah, I really want to support and help out. So I think that's kind of the missing pieces in that, why it wasn't successful. And I saw that because I ended up doing a multi-consultant fundraiser, and that's another option too, guys. You can get a team of people together and do a fundraiser. It's not like it has to be just you. I have seen some of those that are successful. Well, my sponsor, Crystal, who is the leader on the Daymaker page, so she had a friend from high school that ended up having stage 4 breast cancer, and the community wanted to do something, and so she organized this multi-consultant fundraiser for her friend. Really, really sad story. Her friend died before we could even have the fundraiser, but we decided to go ahead and do it anyways. And so it was very fresh and very raw, and her friends and family were in that state of, what do you do? She had 4 kids, and you could take meals and do all that, but it was one of these things where it was another option of, here's how you can give back and help this family. And so a lot of people came out and shopped in honor of their friend or their sister, that passed away. And so it had that personal kind of feeling, and that's why I think it was successful. So I do think you want to be careful not to have it be some broad, say you have a child with autism or a friend, and you want to do something that's specifically for something with, autism. That's better than just, I'm doing a fundraiser and it's going to some national autism organization that, you know what I mean? You want to make it personable. So I think that's kind of what I noticed in terms of, what made mine not successful versus, maybe what made Michelle's more successful is, again, and she said, I think schools and churches are probably the best places, because those are like, it's a number one, a really good space. A school has a giant gym. A church usually has a big lobby or a big room that you can set up in. So, it might be better than just doing a fundraiser at somebody's house. So I do think, and again, those are churches and schools are the ones that need the fundraising. So I'm sure they're going to jump on that in wanting that. So I did want to see if anybody has any questions. There is a chat feature on the screen where you can type in anything. If anybody does have any questions, when it comes to fundraising, anybody have any ideas for fundraising? Like I said, if you haven't done one, or if you're just thinking you need to, there's nothing wrong with posting on your page and just saying, hey, did you know this is something LuLaRoe cares about? This is our mission statement to bless lives. Let me know if you have anything. I mean, or again, just kind of look for those opportunities, and they're going to be there.
Never assume that other people are going to take care of it. Like, that's what I find. Like, sometimes people are like, oh, there's so many there, I'm not going to raise money for my school. There's so many fundraisers going on for the school, but you never know who's waiting for the LuLaRoe fundraiser,
Right.
or who, like our school does, they do like a cutlery fundraiser and a cookie dough fundraiser. Well, not just because not everybody wants the cutlery and the food, they might want the clothes. So
Right.
don't ever put yourself back and say, oh, someone else is already fundraising.
Right. Oh, they're doing the popcorn tin, or you could buy some
Yep.
LuLaRoe. What would you rather do?
Yeah.
That's good.
Another
point.
thing that we wanted to add too was that we've noticed that the fundraisers they're no longer approving fundraisers for specific people. So it basically has to be an organization. Adrian and I were talking about the reasons behind that, and we're assuming that it's tax purposes or how they were distributing funds. So little girl in our area is battling cancer, and one of my team members wanted to fundraise for her family. She couldn't specifically do it for the family, but she did it for the hospital's cancer fund, who made sure that it went to the family. So there's always ways around it, but just know that a specific family or a specific person won't likely get approved.
Right.
Probably makes sense.
And that is a change, because I think we did donate to that woman's family directly, but now you would just have to do it through an organization that would then, you can make it happen.
Yeah.
So again, I really encourage you to go on the Box app under fundraiser assets. It's a good, probably 6 or 7 tabs of just, some documents to go through. But like I said, it's all so easily laid out for you. So if you're not familiar with that section of Box, really highly recommend that you do that. Just, read through the policy, think of something that you might want to do, email and ask for permission. You'll hear back within 2 days. So like literally, you guys, today is middle of January. You could do a fundraiser end of January. You could do a fundraiser beginning of February. So don't think it's something where it's like, well, let me plan that for spring. Like, do it now. There's nothing that says that you have to wait. So especially too, if there's a situation, say, family loses their house in a fire or something, it's not like you have to go through this long approval process. They make it very simple. So you're able to be reactive and do something that matters. So I
And I'm
don't
thinking
see.
February is heart awareness.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
There's tons of stuff that you can do.
Right.
Adrian, I have a question actually. When you did the one with multiple consultants, did you all have to apply separately, or did?
No, we did one. Crystal applied for all of us, or,
Okay.
and just said there'll be multiple participating. And then we all did our own individual tally sheets.
Okay.
And so then we all individually wrote a check to Crystal. So, I mean, there is a little bit of that where but
Right.
then she was able to submit basically a copy of all the tallies and get the match from LuLaRoe. And I forget how much we ended up. I should have checked, but I mean, it was enough that it made a difference, because even a couple $100 makes a difference, right? So,
Exactly.
and
Exactly.
it makes you feel good. I mean, I think it really, like I said, it shows the heart of this company and our mission. And so, what better way to do that?
And their turnaround time is incredible.
Yeah.
I did a fundraiser. My most recent one was for the Toys for Tots campaign, and I did it. I want to say it was the beginning of December, and the NHS, the National Honor Society, that was shopping for the toys, was like, if it doesn't come in time, it's okay. We have funds to back it up. But it actually came in time.
Oh, that's
They
awesome.
do I think they write their checks on Fridays, is what I was told. So, just a heads up on that. And I mean, they are really, really all about this. So, and
Cool.
that just says so much for the company.
Yeah, it does. All right. Well, since we don't have any questions, I think we'll go ahead and end the call for tonight. So we really appreciate those who tuned in. We're also obviously making a recording of this, and we're going to try to offer more and more training. So if you found this helpful, let us know what other trainings you would find, important for your business, and we'll do our best to set something up. So have a great night.
Bye, guys.